Hello. During this lesson and the following one, we will learn the properties that allow us to set the background of an element, and not only in the form of color, but also in the form of an image. In this video lesson, we'll talk about the first four properties, and in the next lesson, we'll cover the other two. So let's start. We will start with the property background color. Since you already know how this property works, I'll just quickly remind you how it's used. Let's say we create a div with the class A in HTML, and in CSS we specified the width and the height of the div, and by using background color, we set the background color of the div to orange. As a result, we got this orange div. This means that by using background color, we can set the color of the background. Good. This is clear. Now, let's discuss the properties which you don't know yet, specifically background image, background size, and background repeat. To set a background image for an element, you need to use the property background image, and as the value, we write the path to the place where the image is stored. As you can see, we wrote URL and then, in parentheses, the path to the image. Our image, figure.jpg, is stored next to the CSS file, so we simply specify its name. Also, to control the size of the image, we need to write the property background size. As you can see, both height and width are specified as 100 pixels. We expected to get just one image, but instead it was repeated and we got 6 identical images. Why does that happen? It happens because the property background repeat is activated by default, and this property makes the entire div fully filled with the image repeated both vertically and horizontally. That's why the same image was repeated 6 times. As you can see, the size of the picture is 100 by 100 pixels. The width of the div is 300 by 200, so we can fit 2 images vertically and 3 images horizontally, altogether 6 images. Good. What if we change the width of the div from 300 to, for example, 350 pixels? What will happen? In this case, the browser will still try to fill the div with the image, and even if it doesn't fully fit in, it will still display the part of the image that does fit. Good. This is clear. But how do we make it so that we have only one image instead of the 8 images which we currently have? It's very simple. To do this, we need to write background repeat, no repeat. And then the browser will display only one image. As you can see, this is what happens. And what if we change the value no repeat to repeat X? Then the picture will be repeated only horizontally until it fills the entire div, again horizontally. There is also another property, repeat Y, which works similarly to repeat X, but it repeats the image only vertically. As you can see, everything is very simple. In conclusion, I would like to draw your attention to the property background size. As you can see right now, the size of our image is specified as 100 by 100 pixels, but the image size can be set differently, such as background size 150 pixels. By writing this, we tell the browser that we want the width of the image to be equal to 150 pixels. As you can see, the width of the picture on the screen has changed to 150 pixels. But what about its height? The height was calculated automatically, so the image ratio is the same. Good, this is clear. It is best to set the image size by specifying only width size. Why? For example, let's set the values as 150 by 200 pixels. That means if we select the wrong numbers, the image will be stretched or squished, and we'll get quite an unpleasant picture. That's why it's best to specify only one parameter and let the browser adjust the other one automatically. So, let's move over to Sublime. Let's create in HTML a div with the class block. And in CSS, we set the width for this div as 500 pixels and the height as 500 pixels as well. Let's go to the browser and check. As we see, nothing is displayed. So why? That's because we didn't add any properties that could make our block visible. Let's add a background color for our div and set, for example, the value orange. Let's check the browser again. And now you see that we have the block with the size 500 by 500 pixels and in orange. And what if we want to have an image as the background of the div? To do this, we need to write background image, and we need to write URL as the value, and inside of the parentheses, we need to set the path to our image. Let's get a picture from pixabay.com, a website with free images. For example, this picture. Let's open it. Then right-click and we copy the image address. And then paste it here in the parentheses. Okay, great. Let's refresh our web page. And we see that the image has been set as the background of the div. But our picture is very big. So let's set our picture's background size. 200 pixels by 200 pixels. That means that the width will be 200 pixels and the height will be 200 pixels as well. Let's check. And now we see that we have our picture with the size 200 by 200. But our picture has been duplicated to cover the whole size of the div. Why? Because by default we have background repeat with the value repeat. So that means if we set background repeat with the value repeat and refresh the page, nothing will change. But if we change repeat to repeat X, we will see that our image will be duplicated only horizontally. But if we set repeat Y, our image will be duplicated only vertically. And if we want our image not to duplicate, we need to write no repeat. If we go back to the website pixabay.com, we see that our picture is not a square, but we set the width and the height as the same. And as you see, the image is a little squished. To avoid such a situation, it's best to set only one value, for example, 200 pixels. And then the height is automatically adjusted. We can set, for example, the size of the picture to the same width as the div, which is 500 pixels. And now you see that the picture nicely fits the width of the div. Another approach is to set two values, but in this case, I recommend setting auto as the second value. With this approach, we can be sure that the second value will be automatically adjusted. If we set it differently, with the first value as auto and the second 500 pixels, then the width will be automatically adjusted, but the height will be of the size we set it here. For example, 200 pixels. And now the width has been automatically adjusted, but the height is still 200 pixels. Now, you know how these properties work. See you in the next video.